Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, now where I'm working hard to find some positive tech discussions out there and restore the balance in the universe a little. So today's guest is Dominic Wells, who's waiting to speak with us all the way over in Taiwan, which is one of the few places in the world that is not under lockdown right now. But that's not why I invited him on. The reason I did is because Dominic is the founder of Onfolio and an authority in buying, selling and growing online businesses. And he's also known for bootstrapping human-proof designs to a 7-figure revenue and exiting early last year. In fact, during 2019, he bought 20 websites valued from $30,000 to $500,000. So if you would like to hear a positive startup story with actionable insights, you're in for a treat. So buckle up and hold on tight, because I'm going to beam your ears all the way to Taiwan so we can speak with Dominic Wells. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Dominic. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Sure. I am the founder of onfolio.co, and we essentially buy and sell content websites. And we also help investors do the same. Most of the people who come to us want to invest in a website. They want to buy it for themselves, but they don't know how to find one that's good, or if they do, they don't know how to operate it once they've purchased it. So that's kind of what we do.
And I think it's also worth highlighting, just to bring everyone up to speed, you're also known for bootstrapping human-proof designs to a 7-figure revenue and exiting early last year. In fact, during 2019, you bought 20 plus websites valued from $30,000 to $500,000. So can you, just to set the scene again, just tell everyone about that journey?
Sure. I guess we can go back to 2012 when I first started learning how to make money online. So I live in Taiwan and I've been here since 2008. I originally came here teaching English, and a few years later, I decided I wanted to stay in Taiwan, but I didn't want to teach English anymore. And in a country where everyone speaks Mandarin, I didn't have a whole bunch of local options. So I discovered making money online. And there's lots of different ways to make money online, but I discovered affiliate marketing, which is basically you build a website, you get people to visit that website, maybe because you rank in Google or you've got good social media skills. And then that website generally gives people information, and you can make money from that by maybe you have adverts on your website, or you refer people to, say, Amazon or something like that, and you get a commission if they buy something. And yeah, so I started doing that. I started getting reasonably good at it, making a little bit of money online. I think I was doing about $500 a month. And then after about a year, I was doing around $1,000 a month. And it was right at the end of 2013 when I decided to launch Human Proof Designs. And this was a business where we basically helped other people get started the same as how I got started, except we would build their first website for them. So we were known for doing these done-for-you websites. And it was basically, hey, we've researched a website topic and we will build the website for you and teach you how to make money from it. And that grew over the years. As we did a lot of training and teaching people, naturally we got people coming to us to buy our services, and then they started asking for other services. So we kind of just scaled it that way. And yeah, as you mentioned, in 2017 and then in 2018, we did over $1 million in revenue. At the end of 2018, I decided I wanted to move on to my next business, which was Onfolio, which I had, I'd already started it sort of as a side business, but I decided I wanted to go all in on that, and I didn't want to run Human Proof Designs anymore. And it was getting in my way and I was getting in its way. So I figured it was better to hand it over to somebody else. And then pretty much a year ago today, which is April 2020 that we're recording this. So April 2019, I finalized the sale of Human Proof Designs and we went our separate ways. And the last year has really been doubling down on Folio. And that's why I bought 20 websites in the last year, because more and more investors were coming to me saying, I love what you're doing. I want to buy a website too. Can you help me do it? And we just spent the year ramping that up.
Wow, an incredible journey you've been on there. And so much has changed and you've seen so much of the industry evolve as well. So I'm curious, what are the biggest lessons that you've learned along the way, would you say?
So many. I could probably do the entire podcast just on this question. Probably there's a few that maybe are equally important. I think the first one I learned was to always be flexible. I was never good at kind of making a plan and then sticking to it. It was more, I think this is a reasonably good idea. I'm going to try it and then I'm going to adapt and change my service or change my offering as I respond to the market and the feedback I get. And sometimes that can be maybe a negative thing because you end up spinning your wheels or you end up responding to too many different signals and you get what's known as shiny object syndrome. Because you're like, okay, I'm going to try this. Oh, that's not working. Oh, I've got a better idea. I'm going to do this. And definitely the first 6 months, I was doing that a lot. But I also think the way I was able to grow my business was because I was able to respond and adapt as needed. I think the next biggest lesson is that nobody really teaches a lot of the stuff that you need to learn. I didn't set out to build a 7-figure service business. I didn't set out to have employees. At one point, we had over 300 contracts open on Upwork of different freelancers who were doing work for us. And that was never something I intended. And I realized as I was growing that I had no idea how to find out how to do all of this, like how to be a leader, how to hire people. I didn't go to business school or anything like that. And so for me, the importance there was connecting with other people doing the same thing. So other people who were bootstrapping businesses. And really, I think if I had tried to stay in my own bubble or in a little silo forever, I never would have got anywhere. So it's very important to network with other people, not necessarily for the business, like for the lead gen or anything, but just for the ability to grow as a business owner.
And like I said, so much in this world has completely changed. And only recently I've seen on the affiliate side of things that Amazon are dramatically reducing their rates. So I'm curious, as someone that's worked in this space for so long, what is your secret sauce for investing in online businesses and getting those above market average returns? Has that changed at all?
So there's strategy and then there's tactics. Yeah. And the underlying strategy has never really changed. It's all about having good content and being good at marketing your website so that people will find you. And if you can do that, then the fundamentals are always going to be based around being good at that. But individual tactics have changed probably every 6 months. Like you say, Amazon changed their commission rate. Some categories are going down from paying 8% to 3%, which is it's pretty brutal, to be honest, when you see one of your websites lose like 80% of its income. So yeah, you have to adapt and come up with a different tactic. So maybe you connect with different vendors, different e-commerce businesses, and promote their stuff instead of Amazon. And there used to be a lot of different SEO tactics that people would use to build links to get their websites ranking higher. There used to be lots of different ways of using display ads and paid advertising and lots of things where this saying that marketers ruin everything is really true. So someone figures out something that works and everybody does it and then it doesn't work anymore. And in spite of all of these different tactics, the like I keep saying, the kind of fundamentals of just having good content and providing a website that people are interested in has never changed. So in terms of getting above average, above market returns, I think with my websites, I'm probably around market rate for websites, but because of the price that websites are bought at, you're going to get better than like traditional investments. So to kind of go back a bit and explain what I mean, websites are generally right now, they're bought for about 2.5 to 3 years annual profit, or 30 to 36 months if you it's easier to visualize monthly. So a website that's making 30k a year might cost 90k to buy. And basically that means if you then buy a website for 90k and you don't even grow it, but you manage to maintain the same profit level, you've earned 30k that year. So you've earned 40% ROI. So if you look at buying real estate or investing in the stock market, 40% is unheard of. And so really, I don't really have a secret sauce. I'm just good at growing websites and maintaining them and identifying ones that don't die after you buy them. I think the real key to being good at investing in websites is just buying good ones. Or like Warren Buffett, when he buys businesses, he says it's better to buy a great business at a fair price than a fair business at a great price. So it's kind of, I have a similar philosophy. I'd rather just buy a good business and not worry about whether I got it for cheaper than it was worth. I just want to make sure that it's a website that's going to keep giving me cash flow for the next few years, and then the returns take care of themselves.
Excellent advice. And because of COVID-19, of course, almost every company is now taking remote working seriously. So are there any tips that you can offer that you've gained from your experience of scaling remote teams? Because I imagine that is more invaluable than ever right now.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like I see so many articles coming out right now about using project management tools and stuff that I've been using for years. And this is the first time in my life that I've scheduled Zoom calls with people and no one struggled to download the software because everybody knows what Zoom is now. And so a lot of it, I think, oh, didn't everybody know that?
Yeah.
So it's hard to give tips because stuff is it's just a normal way of life for me. But I guess I would say it actually takes a little bit of work and discipline to make it work. You can't just say, okay, everyone's going to use Slack and Zoom now and that'll take care of itself, because learning to work from home takes discipline for every single individual, which means a company and a team need discipline as well. And it's even harder for me because my team are all in different time zones. I have people in New Zealand, I have people in America. Fortunately, I don't have anyone in the Pacific coast because that's just the worst time zone for Asia. But if you've got lots of companies where everyone's suddenly working from home and they're all in the same time zone, I feel like that's the hardest problem to overcome already. And if people stick to the same hours, it's a lot easier. The real issue is when you have people pinging each other on Slack and having to wait for a reply because maybe the other person's gone out for a lunch or something. Although I guess if everyone's on lockdown, maybe that's not so much an issue. And I think each team needs to figure out what works for them. Do they need to have daily Zoom calls, or a daily Zoom call is actually going to get in the way of stuff? Should they just have a quick stand up on Slack? And there's actually an extension you can add to Slack called Stand Uply, and it automatically pings team members every day to say, hey, what are you working on today? What are you struggling with? And then when they reply, it goes to the project manager. So there are these little hacks you can have that will make life easier. But the one thing I could say for project management with remote work is every business and every company works differently. So it's just a case of being proactive and trying to figure out the best cadence that is going to work for you and your team, which is not a very good answer. But I guess it's reassuring if someone's listening to this thinking, oh, maybe that my team's not working well because I haven't figured out what works well for them yet, then that's actually a good enough answer, I think.
And I've already made a note of Stand Uply there. I'd not heard of that. I think that's a great idea as well. Just something that can be automated like that. And something else I always try and do on this podcast is bust a few myths out there. So what have you learned about content marketing for SEO? And are there any myths that you would like to finally lay to rest on that topic?
I think the myths probably are that when people say content is king, that is correct. But I find when you get these kind of slogans or sayings that people repeat, future generations or people who are hearing them for the first time, they hear content is king, but they hear it kind of out of context. So they don't understand what it means. And they're just like, oh, content is king. I need good content. And that's job done. So I would say content is king in that it's the most important part of SEO. You can't rank a website without the content, and the content needs to be good. And if the content's not good, what's the point? No, you don't want people to come to a website and then it's got crappy content. But content is not enough. You also need your backlinks, and you need your marketing, and you need people to see the content in the first place. So it's not so much a myth, but more maybe a thing that I often see, particularly beginners not really understanding. What else I've learned about content marketing is, and this is where content really is king, is that the websites where I've got traction the best and the quickest are websites where I was really a part of the audience, and I knew that there was a demand that I was filling, and I wasn't relying on keyword tools. So these could be niches where they're quite new and the keyword tools haven't yet realized the actual full extent of how many people are searching for these keywords. So for example, in 2017, I was doing a lot of research about crypto, just like a lot of people were. And the keyword tools said nobody's really searching for crypto. You don't want to build a website about crypto. But that was because keyword tools use a 3-year average to determine volume. And I figured, well, there's probably loads of people searching now, but 3 years ago they weren't. So I just started an authority site about crypto because there wasn't one, and I wanted to fill that need for myself. So I kind of built the website that I wanted to read. And that website got traction really quickly. I think after I'm going to say 3 or 4 months, it was getting 1,000 visits a day, which is
cool.
I didn't build a single backlink apart from people naturally linking to me. And I've done it again a couple of times since with niches where I thought, well, this is a new product and it seems pretty popular and it seems like it's going to be around for a while, so it's worth my time. And there's probably no competition because nobody else has realized that actually it does get search volume. So I think that's a key thing, is the easiest way to get traction. Of course, the hard part is finding that that thing in the first place.
Is that crypto site still going?
Yeah, but I'm not really doing anything with it right now. It's just like on ice, and if the market changes, I might start doing stuff again.
Excellent. And look, we've talked a lot about your experience, but you did say at the very beginning you're now the founder of Onfolio. So is there anything else you can tell me about that and the kind of problems that you set out to solve with Onfolio?
Yeah, I think I can go deeper with the problems. So when investing in websites, most people have one of two problems, and actually most people have both problems. And they are, the first one is whenever you buy a website, there's a risk that website can go to zero. The risk is small, but there's a chance that it loses its traffic, it stops making money. And then, so the way people counter that is they buy multiple websites so that they're diversified. And then the problem there is if you buy multiple websites, you either have to then hire a team to run them because you can't run more than a couple of websites yourself, and hiring that team eats into your profit. So therefore, now it's not as profitable as it was. Or you need to spend a large amount of money so that you can actually buy multiple sites in the first place. And generally, the smaller websites need more work. They're less stable. So a lot of people have this issue where they think either I don't know how to run these sites in the first place, or I know how to, but it's not really cost effective for me to run them. So the way we solve those problems are, first of all, we have the knowledge and the expertise. So someone who just doesn't know what they're doing, but they're interested in the opportunity, can come to us, and it can actually become accessible in the first place. And second of all, because we work across a portfolio of sites, it's a lot more affordable. So someone could pay us a certain management fee every month that no one else is going to work for, because we're doing a little bit across our whole portfolio. And then thirdly, we also sometimes organize group buys where people can group together with other investors, and then instead of buying a 100K website for themselves, they could buy like a tenth of it for 10K, and then 9 other people all put in 10K. And that way, if they did have 100K, rather than having to put all their eggs in one basket, they could buy 10 tenths of 10 websites, or 1/10 of 10 websites. And so that is something that doesn't really exist outside of what we do. And then actually, one of my clients summed it up quite nicely as well when he said, basically, you're turning what is for most people an active investment into a passive investment, which I think, I'll let him do the marketing in future. Those are the big problems we solve. Yeah, I mean, I think if you can get over those problems without losing too much of the profit margin, then it's happy days from there.
And you are someone that works with people from all over the world. So I'm curious, how has the global pandemic affected you and your business?
In many different ways. So on a website level, some websites have been hit pretty hard because maybe they rely on display advertising, and companies that are paying for adverts right now are not paying as much as they were before, because, well, what's the point in spending on adverts when there's a recession coming and everybody's stuck at home? But then other websites that maybe make money from Amazon are killing it right now because so many people are shopping. And I have another website that covers a topic that basically is going to benefit from people deciding they want to learn things online. And that website has probably experienced something like 10x growth in April and March compared to what it did in January and February, that's more than made up for the losses in other sectors. And then at the investor level, it's different, really. Some investors are more careful about wanting to buy a website right now, which makes sense, because if there is a large recession ahead of us, you want to make sure you batten down the hatches, tighten the purse strings and everything. And I think it's some of the enthusiasms come out of the market, whereas a year ago, everyone was very gung-ho and yeah, this is going to work. Everything works out great. The economy always goes up. The market always goes up. I'm going to buy a website. It's going to make millions of dollars. Now people have had a little bit of a reality check. But at the same time, people are still buying, and some people are even more keen to buy than ever because they can see that there's going to be sellers who maybe have to sell their website in a pinch, or can't sell their website for as much as it was worth 6 months ago. So there's, like I said earlier, it's a really mixed bag. It's certainly an interesting period. But overall, I think we've probably come out ahead based on how the websites that are doing well are doing really well, and it's more than making up for it.
And I think the 24-hour news channels have the doom and gloom covered. But on this Daily Tech podcast, I always try and create a bit more of a positive narrative and end on a good news story for once. So on that note, what makes you hopeful about the future? Is there anything that excites you about the road ahead?
Well, I think life in general, I think I was pretty young during the 2008 crisis. I was working, I think I was 20. I was about 23, 24. So I didn't really get to see exactly everything, as I don't have as much of an eye as I do now. But one thing I remember was that when the recession ended everybody was kind of playing the blame game and very annoyed with each other. And it didn't help that bankers got bailed out and then paid themselves ludicrous bonuses shortly afterwards. But there was a lot of, it's the bankers' fault. And there's definitely going to be blame games over the coronavirus. I mean, we can already see it right now. There's obviously the government in the UK is not particularly popular right now, and the US government's under a lot of criticism. So that's always going to be there. But I feel like this time the world's going to be a bit more optimistic coming out of the recession, and everyone's going to be like, yeah, we can travel again, we can go out again. So I don't know. I kind of feel like it's not going to be a kind of sort of hippie coming together, but I think people will generally be a lot more happy for a while. It was a bit like, I don't know if you ever went to London shortly after the 2012 Olympics, but everyone was in a good mood. It was weird. Yeah. I remember I landed at Heathrow Airport and they were like, come in. I thought, oh, that's not what you normally say. So I can see the world being like that for a good sort of 6 to 18 months. But then from a business point, from a sort of personal level, I feel there's a lot of opportunity in what I'm doing. And this is a business that I feel like I want to run for 10, 15, 20 years compared to a previous one that I kind of just wanted to make some money and have an exit. So I feel there's huge opportunity there, both for myself and also for investors who want to come and get involved in the space. So I'm pretty excited about that as well, to be honest.
Oh, you just gave me a few flashbacks there. I was working in IT on the Olympic Park during the Olympics, and it was a surreal time, wasn't it? I've never seen so much positivity.
Yeah, it was weird. I came back, I think August 2012, and everyone was so welcoming, and it was great. And then I think I came back August 2013, and it was a bit more British, a bit more normal. Like no one was rude or mean, but they were more the kind of pessimism had returned to their life. And so I can see everyone getting that happiness when at least when things like lockdown start to end. There's probably going to be 2 stages to this. There's going to be the lockdowns ended, everyone can go out again, but then the recession's probably still going to come. So in fact, I guess it's already here. So then there's going to be a slightly longer recovery from that. But I think at least when the lockdown ends and maybe there's a coronavirus vaccine is created or something like that, there's going to be a bit of a euphoria. So that's going to be fun to look forward to.
Excellent. And for anyone that'd like to find out more information about the kind of work you're doing, your journey, or even carry on the conversation we started today, can you just point them in the best direction of doing that? My Twitter or my LinkedIn are the best place to follow me on social media. But if anyone ever wants to reach out to me, then dom@onfolio.co is the best. So it's just DOM. I reply to most emails that I receive. So I'm happy to continue a conversation with anybody. Excellent. And OnFolio, is that just onfolio.com?
No, it's .co.
.co, okay. Well, I'll add that to the show notes just so people listening can find you nice and easily. I can't thank you enough for coming on today. I think we are in a period of uncertainty, but hearing about how you invested in online businesses, getting above market average returns, scaling remote teams, content marketing for SEO, so much value in your journey there. So a big thank you for coming on today, Dominic, and sharing it with me. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
So many great insights from Dominic there about investing in online businesses and specifically content and affiliate-based websites rather than e-commerce. So it's nice to take that different angle today, and also about how he was getting above market average returns. And I also enjoyed hearing more about scaling remote teams and content marketing for SEO. But my big takeaways was that Dominic has been remote working for some time and almost feels it's a little bit odd or surreal that everyone is now just catching up to it. But he is right in what he is saying. It's refreshing that everybody knows what Zoom is now and doesn't need to talk anyone through how to download it and set it up. And as someone that records these daily tech podcasts, I'm noticing that big change too. And it really does feel that everyone is now embracing these tools. Not just a few, it's now even people that were huge technophobes and were a little bit nervous about it. Everyone's now embracing it. and of course remote working. But I'm curious, what kind of experiences have you had over the last few months around this? As always, email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, and we'll keep this conversation going. But we've reached the end of this episode, so all that's left for me to say is a genuine thank you for tuning in to listen to this podcast. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.